Hey, good one here, and eventually we will like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, help promote and rank up my channel. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, and I talk about a lot of stuff in between those reviews, some of which are controversial subjects that I have two different channels, one strictly for reviews, if that's your preference, and one where I talk about a lot of stuff that you may not want to hear. So, with that said, I just like to remind people, as a lifelong lover of film, a former aspiring screenwriter, someone with a passion for strong stories, interesting characters, and a different perspective that may express a thought-provoking or moral message that doesn't come off as a lecture is something I'm really passionate about. With that said, let's move on to the film's logline, which is essentially, it really doesn't have much of a story, honestly, but the film is pretty much about this former rich banker who wants to get away from everything and books a luxury villa for him and his family, his daughter and his wife, to get away from everything. While they're there, he starts to notice that things are off with this house. And it stars Kevin Bacon, Amanda Seyfried. It's written and directed by David Koepp. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. It's the same guy that did Stir of Echoes and a lot of other popular films. And Kevin Bacon was in Stir of Echoes, and this film does have a Stir of Echoes feel to it. It's got a it's got some elements where you can tell there's inspiration from The Shining, American Psycho, but it does have more of a Stir of Echoes, Room 1408, Silent-esque type feel to it. With that said, let's break this down into 3 acts so my thoughts don't get all cluttered and cross-wired. First, we're going to do what any screenwriter would do, is give you the best stuff up front. You got to hook your audience with the first 10 pages. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the best stuff up front so you know whether or not this is worth viewing. So Act 1, where I cover the best stuff. The best stuff in this film really is there's a lot of mystery and intrigue surrounding the film, surrounding the house. Hallways extending, rooms appearing, disappearing, maze-like house creepy behavior of nearby townspeople, odd lighting, the house being larger on the inside than the outside, a spiral staircase descending to a deep, dark, dank location, Kevin Bacon's character, his acting, his love, and his concern for his daughter, his reaction to certain revelations and discoveries are well played. And Amanda Seyfried's character, her dialogue is well written in a way that it seeps into Kevin Bacon's character. And even I myself questioned, I questioned how someone could date an actress. Some of the things she says, how much of what she's telling you is real, and how much is misleading. There are a lot of moments in here like that, and there are some moments of perfect lighting for a horror setting, not many, but a moment where Kevin is leaving with his daughter at night and they look back at a shadowy figure in the living room. That was a great shot. That was a great scene. The movie can really only be compared to like Stir of Echoes, and how it's a psychological type horror film, more of a mystery thriller than horror per se, but it has this Silent Hill-esque type stuff to it. So that's pretty much all I can say that's good about the film, unfortunately. Act 2, I'll just discuss my personal bias. Usually I'll talk about journey or filler material, but in this one I'm just going to talk about my personal bias for the film, why I may have a different impression, why you may have a different impression of the film yourself than I do. If you haven't seen Stir of Echoes, played Silent Hill 2, or seen Room 1408, you might have a better appreciation for this film. I'm too familiar with this type of story, so for me it was underwhelming and average at best. Now, Act 3, let's just talk about the worst stuff. The worst stuff of this film. It has genre problems. It's full of cliche horror jump scenes, doors slamming, shadows lurking, and things characters don't see, but we the audience do. And while that ramps up tension with the audience, it's not as effective as equally ramping up tension for the characters. There's too many nightmare sequences that take away from the feel of a real threat to the characters, take away from ramping up of tensions when you realize it's just a nightmare sequence. The house looks sleek, too clean, luxurious to be creepy on the inside. It's too well lit to immerse us effectively for a horror movie in this kind of haunted house setting. Yes, sometimes it is creepy when there are no light switches for a light and you can't figure out how to get that light off. A light comes on by itself after being shut off. But if the character doesn't notice, then I feel like it doesn't work. So the film also has story problems. There are notes left in the main character's book that aren't fully explained. We're left to assume it has the same explanation as the one that is explained. I didn't buy the conclusion to the story as something that sews everything together in this nice and neatly packaged thing. I didn't buy it. The nightmare narration that comes and goes throughout the film didn't work for me, and the twist was pretty obvious. I was hoping it wasn't going to be what I expected, but unfortunately it was. And there are just other continuity errors in the film related to Wi-Fi and not being able to contact people, and the character's actions don't always match up, because he does have realistic reactions and behavior towards certain things, such as he doesn't like the house and he wants to leave at a certain point, but he does things that just doesn't make sense, as if leave his daughter alone for a moment after things have gotten pretty bad. There are just certain things that don't match up the way they should with the character's behavior. And it does have real character problems. Not just that, the wife character has no story for herself. She has a reason to be there that drives up tension and suspicion, but it could have had more depth, more substance. It should have been driven further than it was. And Kevin Bacon's character, being famous for reasons we the audience don't know until well into the film, made it harder to connect with him, feel concerned for him. His character also has no real motivation or goal from the start of the film, except to get away from everything, even the house itself later in the film. But it kind of makes his character bland. There are just things that don't feel like the film tries to make everything come full circle and just wrap it up nicely and neatly, but there are certain aspects of the character that conflict with the execution, and there are certain things that just don't work. They don't work. It felt like somebody who's written all these great stories and done all these great things, and Stir of Echoes itself was absolutely great, and this does have some really great psychological stuff to it, but it's just poorly executed. And it's almost as if the guy just wrote this and directed it with intent to just get it out of the way or something, because he didn't pay enough care and attention to detail on this to really sell it. It just felt like he just wanted to sell it for money, not really have you immersed in this story, and that's where the story falls short. It falls short for me. It feels rushed. It feels like there wasn't enough thought and care, and that's really unfortunate. I was looking forward to this film, and while it does do some things pretty well, it also doesn't do a lot of things well. It was underwhelming for me. Average at best. It does have continuity errors throughout the film, and it does have a problem with the main character himself, Kevin Bacon's character. The way it sets up the character and the way it ends with the character, it just, the behavioral pattern doesn't really match up too well. And that's my thoughts and opinions on it, but I'd like to hear yours below. So comment, let me know what you thought of it. Did you like the film? Were you really impressed with the film? Because if you haven't seen something like Stir of Echoes, or played Silent Hill 2, or maybe seen Room 1408, you might have a better impression of this film than I do. That's why I wanted to include a personal, bias. I wanted to let you know that, no critic's opinion on a film outweighs your opinion on it, because you may feel differently about it in the end. I think people should see this film. I do recommend it, but I recommend it when its price has dropped, or if you can see it online for free, go ahead, do it by all means. If you really like the film, pay for it after, whatever. But for me, it was average at best, and I don't recommend getting it at the price it is right now. I, however, do recommend seeing it for yourself to make up your own mind. And average at best, 5 out of 10. Like, subscribe, share. I talk about a lot of things on this channel, but I do have a channel exclusively for movie reviews, Strand of Fate reviews. So leave your thoughts and comments down below. What do you think of the film and all that? I'd really enjoy hearing it. Thanks for viewing. Stay awesome. Rock on.